Hey guys, on here, we are back for New Rockstar's breakdown of episode 3 of Miss Marvel. I know a lot of people are kind of all talking about Kenobi right now. I'm guilty of this myself, but if you've not started watching Miss Marvel, do yourselves a favor, check it out. No matter what your preconceptions are, whether you think it looks like it's too targeted towards a younger audience, trust me, it has a little bit of something for everybody. I've been loving the crap out of the show. Watch it. I imagine, though, this probably isn't the place to mention that, because if you're watching a breakdown of the episode, you're probably already watching it. So this may be a moot point. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and hop into this episode, guys, and see what all Eric has been able to find. I'm sure there's a lot of things to unpack, because there's, as I mentioned many times, I'm not that familiar with the Marvel Universe, so there's a lot of things in there, and I'm just like, is that a thing? What is that? Ooh, what's this? And I need my answers from the big brain himself. So check him out. Subscribe if you're not to Eric Voss over at New Rockstars. And let's hop in.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Ms. Marvel episode 3, which gives Kamala 10 rings problems and a Gen 8 1. I don't know if that made sense, but let's break down this episode shot by shot for all the Marvel
it didn't make any sense to me, man.
You might have missed, because there is so much to explain from the opening minutes of this episode.
Yeah,
also,
man.
An announcement that you can see New Rockstars live in Austin, Texas on set.
Before he says it, I'm pretty sure that's the 10 rings emblem on the bottom there. I mentioned that in my reaction with a big old question mark. But after looking at it side by side myself, I want to go ahead and put it out there that I thought this before they said anything to me.
Saturday, July 2nd, as part of RTX, that's Rooster Teeth's podcast festival. For discounted tickets, click the link in the description. Use the code NEWROCKSTARS, all one word. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope to see you there. Don't miss it. We open in British-occupied India in 1942, making this a few years before the partition mentioned last episode. That's when the British left India by dividing it into India and Pakistan, resulting in devastating civil unrest. We find ourselves in a cave containing various ancient relics. Digging through this rubble is Najma, Faria, Salim, and Kamala's long-lost great-grandmother Aisha.
I found the bangle.
Should we be concerned it's on a severed arm?
You heard what that man from the temple said.
He said we would need two.
So where's the other one?
I told you. The British have probably looted this place twice over by now.
And as the British Army realizes their intrusion, they burn down this location, and we get this overhead shot revealing the floor is carved with the symbol of the 10 rings. Whoa boy!
Yeah.
But really, the key detail here is that they find this bangle on a severed blue arm, which indicates to us that it may be Kree. Kree are humanoid extraterrestrials in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, many of whom are blue-skinned. Kree being the society that Carol Danvers ended up with, and Captain Marvel. Most of them are imperialist pricks. Kree technology is partially the source of Carol Danvers' power-up. It was a lightspeed engine powered by the Tesseract, the Space Stone, followed by a bit of Kree transfusion. It was the Kree who invented the Terrigen Mist, the process that creates Inhumans, and what gave Kamala her powers in the comics. So this 10 Rings logo might mark this as the location when Wu discovered the 10 Rings. In the comics, the 10 Rings are alien McLuhan technology discovered by the Mandarin in the wreckage of a McLuhan ship. The Shang-Chi film only hints at where Wen Wu found these rings.
有人说他的十环是火山口里捡来的，还有人说
Could that be the tomb? Could they be the other bangle?
给了他神一般的力量，也赋予了他长生不老的魔法。
So this place may be that tomb or crater where Wen Wu found the rings. And that these rings were extraterrestrial technology, but not from the McLuhans like they are in the comics, but in the MCU from the Kree. This could be a Kree crash site containing other relics of ancient Kree technology. This group sent here by a...
But didn't they say at the end of Shang-Chi that it wasn't any technology Carol had seen, and she spent plenty of time with the Kree? It's gotta be something else, though. But that I do think that was a Kree arm. But I don't necessarily think that the Kree is responsible for the technology. More to unpack later, I'm sure.
Man in the temple, whom I believe to be Wen Wu. Wen Wu has had the rings for over 1,000 years, and this helmet that Faria finds looks like the kind worn by the 10 Rings cavalry in that Shang-Chi prologue, or at least worn by an army that they conquered. We are in the Indian subcontinent here, but the 10 Rings Empire spanned the whole Asian continent, from China to Afghanistan. Many have speculated the bangle is connected to the 10 Rings because if you look closely, it does illuminate very similarly to the way the 10 Rings do. Remember, in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, Wong, Banner, and Carol Danvers analyze those rings.
They're not vibranium. Chitauri?
Not like any alien tech I've seen.
See?
How long did your
Does
dad
that not
have them before
rule
they
out
came to you?
Kree tech?
About 1,000 years?
Their thermoluminescence indicates they're older than that.
Now, Carol
Primordial
might be familiar
even.
with modern Kree tech, but if these rings were ancient Kree tech, it would predate any expertise that she had. So I believe ancient
good point.
Kree sent a
Fair
dispatch
point.
to Earth thousands of years ago, perhaps alerted by the arrival of the Eternals, or maybe the even earlier arrival of a vibranium meteorite to Wakanda, which I think was the nexus moment that really gave the true birth of civilization and technology to this planet in the MCU. I think that ancient Kree dispatch could have brought with them the 10 rings and the 2 bangles, maybe also technology like Terrigenesis. Sometime after that, the rings were recovered by Wenwu. Maybe there was some kind of conflict where he severed the arm of that warrior with the bangle. So why now would Wenwu give this group valuable information? Maybe it wasn't Wenwu, maybe it was a rival of his. But remember, in Shang-Chi, Nan explained the realm of Ta Lo.
We have cities that surpass any in your universe, rich with culture and history. Thousands of years ago, all of our people lived in peace and prosperity until the attack of the Dweller in Darkness.
So this implies that the Dweller of Darkness must have come from some dimension beyond Ta Lo, as these folks are interdimensional beings from beyond. Wenwu might have made a deal with these devils for him to keep the 10 rings so that they could take the bangles. Now, the most important detail from that post-credit scene was that the 10 rings were released in some kind of pulsing beacon that was summoning something or someone. Now, I think it will be revealed to be the Kree as the rightful owners of this technology, this being a very important relic to their culture, and with Secret Invasion coming up, I think we're going to learn about the Kree-Skrull shadow war that's been happening behind the scenes, and that's going to erupt into an all-out cosmic war in which Carol, Kamala, and Monica are going to have to defend Earth from a Kree invasion. I think that is going to be the plotline
That's gonna be
of
crazy,
the Marvels
man.
next year. So where is the other bangle? Faria says the British had already looted this tomb, which is an important clue. It could be in one of those London museums we visited recently where Cersei and Dane worked, or where Stephen Grant worked, or where Killmonger visited. That relic could be among the possessions of Dane's uncle, along with the ebony blade that we saw.
Oh
in the
man,
Eternals
so many
post-credit scene.
options.
It could be an artifact held by MI13, the Supernatural Investigation Division, where Blade and Black Knight had both worked, and we know the 2 of them are now together from that post-credit scene. Or it could be in damage control storage, along with the Chitauri tech and the Ultron heads that we saw in Spider-Man Homecoming. Aisha snaps on this bangle, her eyes turn purple, as they did for Kamala. Presumably she got a glimpse of that Nora dimension, as Kamala did. But because Aisha was from that dimension, she cannot fully connect with this bangle the way Kamala can, since she was born in this dimension. And then we jump to the present, where we realize Najma has been telling this story to Kamala, and Najma reveals that she and Aisha and the others were exiled from another dimension called the Nor dimension. Nor meaning light. And they all have some degree of Nor in them, but in lesser quantities, still slowing down their aging. However, Kamran is 17 years old, so don't worry, no one's going to jail. Well, he does go to jail this episode, but not for that. Najma says the bangle helped Kamala unlock her Nor, and maybe someday something will help Kamran unlock his, hinting that he will probably power up into his blue bioluminescent inhuman form from the comics. Then we meet the last one of their
Wonder if
groups.
that'll
So
happen in
hinted
this
at the opening
series
scene.
or
His name is
maybe
Adam.
later.
Don't mind him. We've been around for 100 years, and he picks the stupidest parts of humanity to be obsessed with.
That's so rude.
His name being Adam is significant, as when they argue off screen, the captions show he says this is his house. He's more confident than the others, and there might be some significance to that because Najma says,
In our home dimension, the Noor dimension, we're known as the Clandestines. As to what we are, we've been called Ajnabi, Majnun, Unseen. The list goes on. But what we're most commonly known as is Jinn.
I'm sorry, did you just say Jinn?
okay, wow. So the
That's a
term
lot.
Jinn was actually mentioned back in episode 1.
Please tell Bruno the Zuzu is possessed by the evil Jinn. He needs to fix it.
Jinn refers to a spirit or a demon in Islamic mythology, actually pre-Islamic mythology, as Yusuf clears up later. They've been anglicized as genies, which basically just means white cultures has bastardized this culture. They've turned the concept into like jacked blue Will Smith rapping. But Jinn absolutely have a deeper lore to them. The idea is that whereas humans were understood to be made from clay, the Jinn was made from smokeless fire and are forbidden to interact with humans and are actually invisible to us. By the way, the other terms that Najma mentioned, Ajnabi is Arabic for strange, alien, or foreign. Majnun is Turkish for a crazy person. person. Unseen may have a deeper meaning to it. In Marvel lore, unseen has been considered to be invisible to the Watchers, but I think she was using it in the context that Jinn are supposed to be invisible to mortals. But the key word there was clandestine, which was capitalized and I think might be referring to a lesser known group in Marvel Comics from the 90s founded by Adam of Ravencroft, Adam, later dubbed Adam of Destin, from 12th century England, who during the Crusades fell in love with a Jinn. Their descendants become the Clandestine, all with various different powers, and they team up with the X-Men. And don't feel bad if you don't know they existed because they were never popular. I guarantee you, even the nerdiest Marvel fan who watched this episode today.
I was like, that sounds like that's got to be a thing. I have no idea what that is. Never heard of them, man.
I had to do a bit of Googling to figure out who these guys were, but I think that was by design. Their obscurity and their intersection with Jinn mythology being the reason why this term was chosen here. Now, to be clear, this group is only 100 years old. Really, it's their extra-dimensional status and the fact that they identify with being Jinn, something important to pre-Islamic mythology, being far more important to who they are in this story. The fact that the biggest a-hole in the group is named Adam, I think just a nod to Adam of Ravencroft, Adam of Destin. I'm thinking that their Nora dimension is actually another spiritual afterlife realm in the MCU alongside the ancestral plane in the Duat, as Tuaret and Moon Knight explained that both the Duat and the ancestral plane were part of an array of interlinked afterlives that all take different forms based on the beliefs of the individual. And now, to be clear, the concept of the Jinn far predates 100 years when these exiles arrived into our dimension. So really,
I mean, the 10 Rings long predates 100 years as well. I mean, a lot of this predates like their lifespans, or at least their how long they've been on Earth, so they claim at least. So yeah, curious to see how this all ends up connecting.
Jinn is just what they were called and how they explain what they are, but they are not literally Jinn, and it remains a mystery why they were exiled and what it
That's
says
a good
about
point.
That
That's a good
that
point.
Authorities there exile souls from that realm and leave us with them.
Because I think I may have mistakenly had said that maybe they had inspired the concept of Jinn. I can't remember if I backtracked on that after realizing that they've only been there for 100 years, or if I'm only coming back on that now. Because that would have been, the concept of a Jinn would have been around for people to be like, Jinn, if they didn't understand who or what they were. Because yeah, it definitely predates them being on Earth. So anyway. Sorry.
What I love most about all this is that it is grounding the mythology of Kamala Khan and the whole Khan family and her powers in faith. That seems to be a thematic undercurrent of Phase 4, with stories like Thor, Love and Thunder, Eternals, Moon Knight, and soon Black Panther Wakanda Forever, all exploring the theme of how for many of these characters, being a superhero is deeply intertwined with their spiritual beliefs. And I think this is awesome, because the MCU may be about to establish that all paranormal folklore beings in this world, vampires, ghosts, demons, werewolves, Bigfoots, chupacabras, musks, are exiles from other spiritual realms, other dimensions. And assuming one of those dimensions is hell, because we got a pretty good look at that in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you know what that means.
Don't say it.
Not today, though. Now, the opening title includes Kamala's notepad drawing showing Captain Marvel with a heart on her chest, Iron Man with a heart on his chest, and Palm Repulsor, Hulk, and then this sexy dude going, oh, hi. Another is cut paper with KK labeled on the scissors, and then another is a drawing of Kamala totally falling over Kamran. Also, a quick reminder that the best way to support New Rockstars is to get our Ms. Marvel-inspired Cosmic Daydream shirt at newrockstarsmerch.com, where you'll get the added option to write in a custom shout-out for our Ms. Marvel after shows. Kamala tries to explain this all to Bruno.
I'm a Jinn.
And tonic?
Solid joke, I love it. The books on Bruno's shelf include Mechanical Behavior of Materials, Turning the Wheel, Hacking Darwin, How to Manage Your Mother, How the Mind Works, Mr. Monster, and on top an issue of Popular Science. Kamala asks,
Do you know anything about interdimensional travel off the top of your head? Specifically the Nora dimension. That's N-O-O.
Actually, no, that reminds me of a paper I read. I think it's by Dr. Eric Selvig.
Perfect.
yes, Eric Selvig, Thor and Jane Foster's astrophysicist buddy from the Thor films and Age of Ultron, and now, based on the in-flight movies and Spider-Man Far From Home, something of a Neil deGrasse Tyson figure in the MCU. Bruno shows Kamala that she's trending, that TikTok post.
He's gone a long way from being a crazy naked man and running around that one time.
Was from a guy named Miguel with hashtags including Mosque Save, Girl on Roof, Nightlight, and Jersey City Hero. DODC agent Deaver's license plate is 0102EE. In WandaVision, Wanda and Vision's license plate when they first drove into Westview in episode 1 was 0102. She struts into the mosque, her shoes making hard thuds on that carpeting. Just so rude of her and these agents to enter with their shoes on. Nakia tells them to get a warrant.
Nakia Bahadir, mosque board member.
We still have few more votes to count.
Okay, all right, perspective. member, but I feel good about our polling.
Yeah, there is a lot of ADR in this episode. That's where they bring in actors afterwards to dub in audio that they just kind of layer in post-production. And by the way, they do that all the time in movies and TV shows. Usually it's very subtle, but this one was totally my favorite. Nakia's political rival
it's
wanting
hilarious.
to make sure all the votes were counted. A detail that I love because if you think about it, Kamala's rescue in the Eid festival when they campaigned was the day before. So when was this election held? During the festival? This morning at the meeting? How many people voted? How long were the polls open? I mean, this guy is totally right to demand some election security here. Kamala watches a TikTok video on her desktop? That's weird. The comments include a bunch of little Easter eggs, including one from Queen Zaynea, she could save me anytime, one from Royal Ruby, Nightlight saves people left and right, the real Euro King saying Captain Marvel wannabe. Now I assume this is actually Najaf, the Euro vendor. Hummy Drizzle replies to him saying, yeah, she can't even fly. Euro King also comments, I don't know what everyone is so hyped about, she broke the kid's leg, but then beneath that, GWW not the bridge defends her saying, she saved him, he would have fallen without her. Now GWW could refer to Ms. Marvel co-creator G. Willow Wilson, or maybe the guidance counselor Mr. Wilson named after her. And then there's a comment from Fizan the Man and the real Zoe Zimmer. Oh, Zoe, you always just gotta be where it's happening, don't you? Outside of the party, Kamala has this heart-to-heart with her sheik, who advises,
good is not a thing you are, Kamala.
Yeah, I loved the scene, man.
It is a thing you do.
Yes, reminding Kamala that her status as a great-granddaughter of a clandestine is really irrelevant. It's her own choices now that define her. We see Bruno has given Kamala a superhero mask and he put it in a shoebox. If you look at the side of that shoebox, it is size 13 men. Damn, Bruno! In the circle Q, Bruno studies Selvig's paper on his laptop and you can see an Einstein-Rosen bridge illustration, aka a wormhole, and he refers to the events of New York City in 2012, aka the Battle of New York, something he was very involved with, considering Loki used the Mind Stone on him. There's also some language asking if we should leave this dimension or not. Dr. Selvig doing the work that soon characters like Reed Richards and Kang will be building on. Yusuf drops in for a Hostess fruit pie, which is a classic Marvel Comics deep cut for when like Spider-Man or the Avengers would randomly plug Hostess fruit pies in panels. A very forced and cringy thing that Marvel Comics used to do, as Yusuf hints at with this meta line.
There's just something about their syntheticness. I just can't resist them.
Yusuf translates some Urdu text about the Jinn.
Legend tells of a group of hidden Jinn, exiled from their home world and damned to live out their days trapped in our own. They move in shadows,
searching for the key that will help them get home. But to unlock such an ancient barrier will require a primordial power.
Later with Bruno, Kamala wears an Iron Man shirt and rubs her knee, telling us that her Nora doesn't necessarily give her rapid healing powers. Bruno tells her that they need the energy the size of the sun to open a portal through dimensions, which could wreak havoc on this dimension. Kamala says,
Carol Danvers went away. She'd punch a hole in space and time and she'd help them now.
And Carol Danvers would be reckless. Maybe it's not such a bad thing that you're not her.
Yeah, I'm so glad someone said it. Avengers, including Captain Marvel, are not good role models. Higher, faster, further, baby. Also, I'm sorry I burned the city down. Oh well. When Kamala texts Kamran, a QR code appears to her left on the wall. Every episode, there is a hidden QR code somewhere in the shot where if you scan it with your phone, it'll take you to a link that actually updates every week with a new free Ms. Marvel comic. And this week, it's the Magnificent Ms. Marvel #1 from 2019, which frames Kamala as a bedtime story hero called the Destined One. This episode's title is Destined. All the story beats this episode with the family wedding, all the heart-to-hearts between Muniba and Kamala, between Yusuf and Amir. They're all just so wholesome and sweet and wonderful. We get to learn so much about the family and this culture, and it is a delight. One detail that I really liked is Amir being shoeless throughout the event. This is actually a game ritual called Juta Chaptai, in which the groom's shoes are stolen and the groom must beg or pay ransom to get them back before he can leave the venue. My dumb theory this week is that Nick Fury got his shoes stolen on the Skrull space station because he was currently getting married that day to a South Asian woman. Probably wrong. Probably wrong. I just want to know why they took his shoes. And during the amazing dance sequences, you'll notice the nephew is wearing the padded Hulk outfit that Muniba stitched for Kamala and Yusuf in episode 1. The wedding band is Brown Jovi, a Bon Jovi cover band, calling back the family's love of the New Jersey Prince in the past episode. Kamran shows up to warn Kamala, but also to screw over Bruno. He knows his name isn't Brian. There's legitimate jealousy there. And as I mentioned before, some of his lines here were definitely picked up later via ADR.
Kill everyone. You have to get out of here.
Hey. think you should leave.
Kamala, everyone will die.
I am guessing that an earlier cut of this episode didn't properly have Kamran establishing the life or death stakes of Najma's crew, but also, are they gonna kill everyone? We don't really know what the Clandestines' power set was. They don't really seem that scary. A lot of this part seemed a bit hastily edited together. But still, there's a lot to love here, like the amazing needle drop to have Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer during this chaos. This whole episode establishes Kamala's powers as grounded in her spiritual beliefs. She is literally living on a prayer. Now, at first, I actually thought Brown Jovi kept playing through this, which would be nuts, but
that was my first thought too.
Chaos. But still, that means they set their break music to continue to play, and those break tracks are all Bon Jovi songs, which is also really funny. Another little detail here, after worrying about not having enough money in his bank account, during this panic, Amir smartly goes to the cash and grabs it off the plate. The Clandestines turn out to be a real bunch of a-holes. Adam straight up punches a cook who wasn't even in his way.
Absolutely not. No.
I love that extra. Give her a spin-off. There are some goofy signs posted throughout this kitchen, like on the dry erase board, 63 days without incident? How bad was that incident where they had to keep track of their days without one? Then a teal sign on the walk-in cooler that says, please do not enter this cooler unless you specifically need something in here. This cooler is to remain locked at all times. Whoa, yikes. I assume they also meant to put up a sign that says, also please refrain from saying the words longing, rusted furnace, daybreak, because we keep winter soldiers frozen in here. What the hell? And yes, we do not really get a clear sense of the Clandestines' power set. They seem to have some super strength, like they crack the floor tile and send Kamala flying after they punch her Nora shield. Adam taps a chest pendant, transforming it into a melee weapon, but that shot is so dimly lit that we can't really make out this transfiguration. Maria just shows up with a spear. Celine turns his belt into this whip-like blade. I think this is actually a bendable blade called Narumi. Kamran and Najma both have weapons, but we don't really see where they tap them from. I mean, hey, it wouldn't be Disney Plus without a mid-season moment, right? It especially just feels a little lame when they can all get taken out by DODC Hulk Sonic cannons and then get arrested like Scooby-Doo villains. I mean, no offense to these Clandestines, I just don't blame the Nora Dimension for being like, we're good. You stay out. We do get a cool moment where Kamala's Nora light and biggins her fist to punch Celine and save Bruno, and then her arm just stretches to clear the room. There's a very important moment where Najma grabs Kamala's bangle and a portal opens showing the train with Karachi on it. It is a steam engine train, something from the 40s. I am thinking the Clandestines betrayed Aisha by pushing her in front of that train after Aisha refused to disclose that she gave that bangle to Sana. Nakia realizes Kamala is that nightlight hero she's been mad at, and she completely savages Bruno.
Nakia will take care of me.
Wait, no.
Just go.
Kamala refuses to admit to her family that she did pull the fire alarm and ruin the wedding, and then her nanny, Sana, calls telling Kamala that she and Muniba need to come to Karachi ASAP.
Did you see the train, beta? You have to come to Karachi.
And that is where we will go next episode, where we will likely meet the Red Dagger, or who knows, at this rate, maybe we'll meet Blade. I have no idea where this show is going, and I kind of love that. Hey,
yeah, man, I'm completely lost with it, but I'm loving the ride.
Every other Saturday, including this Saturday, June 25th. Hit me up on Twitter for more details at EA.
All right, guys, subscribe to New Rockstars, follow EA Voss and New Rockstars. Great breakdown, man. Whoo! Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel about the same about the whole action sequence and stuff like that, but I still had fun with it. It's still just the third episode, so I'm not too worried about it. But all the other wholesome moments in the episode were just so brilliant. All the little nuggets, details, Easter eggs throughout are always just a gem to see. And I think the thing that I'm latched onto, I think the most, is the connection to that 10-ring tomb. As far as the Bengals concerned, are both Bengals identical? Or, like what I posited, could one bangle be a solid singular bangle and the other have been all 10 rings, like maybe on condensed or all in one arm, and they were wielded together? Or who knows? There's some connection there, which all predates these Clandestines. So, yeah, man, I can't wait to see how that unfolds. But I love how it's all thematically connecting to Kamala, her dreams, her aspirations, what connects her family, her faith, and how that's all playing out. Like, because everything seems to be melding and weaving all together as far as like the topics and themes that the show's choosing to tackle. And I'm really enjoying the ride, and just the way the show feels. It's one of the shows that's going on right now that I'm just like, it makes my heart warm, man. It really does. Like, even when things are kind of downbeat and stuff like that, like, it just, like, something about the whole show in general is uplifting. There's, like, a sense about it that's, I don't know, welcoming and supportive. Anyway, guys, what did you think of the breakdown? What did you think of the latest episode? What are your theories? Sound off the comments down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We can talk about it there as well. Links to that and all my socials are down below. Follow me in each and every one of those. If you haven't checked out my reaction, go check out my reaction. Before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends, Mandy Scherer, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, York, Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Melita, Robert Aguiano, and Calcustis Nation. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. But that's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you all next week with the next one. Take care, everybody.